After the age of 60, the body no longer moves effortlessly between the demands of the day and the restoration of the night. What once happened automatically now requires guidance. The transition into sleep becomes a decisive biological moment, not because the body has weakened, but because it has become more sensitive to signals. The minutes before bed quietly instruct the nervous system on how the night should unfold. They determine whether the body will fully release into repair or remain suspended in a low-grade state of alert that limits renewal. From a scientific point of view, this transition is governed by shifts in the autonomic nervous system. During the day, the body is oriented toward action, problem-solving, and responsiveness. At night, it must reverse course. After 60, this reversal slows. Stress patterns accumulate, and the nervous system can linger in readiness even when external demands have ended. When this happens, sleep still occurs, but it lacks depth. Blood pressure fluctuates instead of stabilizing, circulation becomes less efficient, and hormonal rhythms lose precision. The brain is especially affected by this incomplete transition. It relies on the night to coordinate repair processes that cannot occur during wakefulness. Neural connections are refined, metabolic waste is cleared, and memory is reorganized. These processes depend on a state of safety. If the brain senses unresolved tension or stimulation before sleep, it delays entering its most restorative phases. Over time, this delay compounds, subtly influencing cognition, mood, and overall vitality. The moments before bed act as a biological handshake between consciousness and physiology. When those moments are rushed or fragmented, the body receives mixed messages. When they are calm and intentional, the message becomes clear. Heart rate begins to slow. Blood vessels relax. Inflammatory signals decrease. The brain shifts its priorities from monitoring the environment to maintaining the organism. This shift is not dramatic, but it is profound, because it sets the tone for hours of internal activity. After 60, repair is less forgiving of disruption. The body still knows how to heal, but it requires cooperation. Nighttime restoration depends on steady conditions rather than intensity. The transition into sleep is where those conditions are established. It is not about falling asleep quickly, but about entering sleep correctly. A calm transition allows the cardiovascular system to settle into stable rhythms that protect blood vessels and support consistent delivery of oxygen and nutrients to tissues. There is also a psychological dimension that feeds directly into biology. When evenings end without closure, the mind remains partially engaged. This engagement keeps stress hormones circulating longer than necessary. These hormones influence glucose regulation, immune response, and vascular tone. Over years, this influence shapes how the body ages. A gentle transition before bed helps reduce this hormonal residue, allowing systems to recalibrate overnight. What makes this transition so powerful is its repeatability. Each night reinforces patterns established the night before. When calm preparation becomes habitual, the nervous system learns to anticipate rest earlier. This anticipation improves sleep efficiency and amplifies the benefits of repair. Longevity is not extended by adding strain, but by reducing friction. The minutes before sleep are where friction is either created or released. After 60, health is no longer built through isolated actions, but through rhythms. The transition into sleep is one of the most influential rhythms the body experiences daily. When honored, it supports resilience at every level. When ignored, it quietly erodes the body's ability to recover. By treating this transition as a meaningful biological event rather than a passive habit, the body is allowed to enter the night prepared, aligned, and capable of the deep restoration that sustains life over decades rather than years. Bedtime rituals exert their influence not because they are comforting ideas, but because they speak directly to the nervous system in a language it understands. After 60, the nervous system becomes more cautious. It responds less to intention and more to pattern. What the body experiences repeatedly in the evening becomes its expectation for the night. Calm rituals work by reshaping that expectation, signaling that the environment is stable, predictable, and safe enough to release control. From a biological standpoint, safety is the foundation of restoration. When the nervous system senses threat or uncertainty, even in subtle forms such as mental stimulation or emotional tension, it prioritizes vigilance. This state alters circulation, increases vascular resistance, and maintains higher levels of stress hormones. While these responses are adaptive in moments of danger, they interfere with the deep repair processes required for long-term health. After 60, the cost of remaining in this state becomes more visible in the form of inflammation, blood pressure irregularities, and reduced resilience. Calm bedtime rituals counteract this by activating the parasympathetic branch of the nervous system. This branch supports digestion, cellular repair, and immune function. Its activation encourages blood vessels to relax rather than constrict, improving circulation without increasing pressure. Improved circulation means that tissues receive oxygen and nutrients more efficiently during sleep, while waste products are removed more effectively. These processes are essential for maintaining organ function and reducing the risk of age-related decline. Hormonal balance is another critical factor influenced by evening calm. Stress hormones do not switch off instantly. They taper in response to signals from the nervous system. When evenings remain busy or emotionally charged, these hormones linger, interfering with sleep architecture and metabolic regulation. Calm rituals lower their baseline, allowing hormones that support repair and growth to take precedence during the night. This shift influences everything from muscle maintenance to cardiovascular health. Inflammation is closely tied to these processes. Chronic low-grade inflammation is a common feature of aging and a major contributor to many diseases. The nervous system plays a role in regulating inflammatory responses. When it remains in a heightened state, inflammatory signaling increases. Calm bedtime routines help reduce this background inflammation by encouraging a restorative physiological environment. Over time, this reduction supports healthier blood vessels, joints, and brain tissue. What makes these rituals particularly powerful after 60 is their cumulative effect. One calm evening may offer temporary relief, but repeated calm evenings reshape the nervous system's baseline. The body learns that nighttime is consistently safe. This learning reduces the need for vigilance and allows restorative processes to begin earlier and operate more efficiently. The result is not just better sleep, but improved daytime energy, clarity, and emotional balance. There is also a subtle psychological shift that accompanies these rituals. They create a boundary between the demands of the day and the needs of the body. This boundary helps prevent stress from spilling into sleep. The brain, relieved of constant monitoring, can redirect resources toward maintenance and repair. This redirection is essential for longevity because it allows the body to invest in long-term health rather than short-term survival. After 60, the body thrives on reassurance rather than stimulation. Calm bedtime rituals provide that reassurance in a tangible form. They tell the nervous system that it no longer needs to defend, anticipate, or react. In this state, circulation becomes smoother, hormonal rhythms stabilize, and inflammation recedes. These changes do not announce themselves dramatically, but they shape how the body ages. Night after night, safety becomes the signal that allows the body to restore itself fully, supporting health not through intervention, but through the quiet power of consistent calm. As the body moves past 60, efficiency becomes more important than strength. The heart, the lungs, and the brain continue to function with remarkable reliability, but they rely increasingly on cooperation rather than force. Posture and breathing before bed play a subtle yet decisive role in this cooperation. Together, they influence how smoothly oxygen, blood, and neural signals move through the body during the night. What feels like a small adjustment in the evening can shape hours of physiological activity while the body sleeps. The alignment of the body affects circulation in direct and indirect ways. The neck and upper spine form a narrow corridor through which blood vessels and nerves travel to and from the brain. When posture collapses after a long day, this corridor narrows slightly. The body compensates by increasing effort, subtly raising pressure to maintain flow. Over time, this compensation becomes tiring. Before bed, gentle alignment reduces resistance, allowing circulation to occur with less strain. This reduction in effort conserves energy for repair rather than maintenance. Breathing patterns interact with posture in powerful ways. Shallow or restricted breathing limits the movement of the diaphragm, which plays an important role in regulating pressure within the chest and abdomen. This pressure regulation supports venous return, helping blood flow back to the heart efficiently. When breathing is relaxed and unforced, this mechanism works smoothly, stabilizing circulation throughout the body. The brain benefits because stable circulation supports consistent oxygen delivery during sleep. After 60, the brain becomes more sensitive to fluctuations in blood flow and oxygen levels. Sudden changes can disrupt sleep architecture and limit the depth of restorative phases. Gentle posture awareness and calm breathing help prevent these fluctuations. They create a stable internal environment in which the heart and brain can synchronize their rhythms. This synchronization reduces strain on blood vessels and supports long-term vascular health. There is also a neurological component to posture and breath. The body's position and breathing patterns send continuous feedback to the brain about the state of the environment. Upright but relaxed alignment, combined with slow breathing, signals safety and readiness for rest. In response, the brain reduces alertness and shifts toward maintenance mode. This shift influences hormone release, immune function, and cellular repair throughout the night. Importantly, the effectiveness of these practices lies in their gentleness. After 60, the body resists forceful correction. Aggressive stretching or controlled breathing can provoke protective responses that increase tension. Subtle adjustments, made with awareness and ease, work with the nervous system rather than against it. The goal is not perfection, but permission for the body to release unnecessary effort. Over time, repeated evening alignment and breathing create new habits at a deep level. The nervous system begins to associate bedtime with ease rather than collapse or tension. This association influences how the body positions itself during sleep, shaping circulation for hours without conscious intervention. The cumulative effect supports cardiovascular health, cognitive clarity, and emotional steadiness. These practices also reflect a broader shift in how health is approached after 60. They prioritize sustainability over intensity. Instead of asking the body to perform, they allow it to function as designed. This allowance reduces wear and tear on systems that have served faithfully for decades. By supporting cooperation between the heart and brain through posture and breath, the body enters sleep with fewer obstacles. Oxygen moves where it is needed, pressure remains stable, and repair processes unfold with greater efficiency. In this state, longevity is not extended by pushing harder, but by removing resistance. Night after night, these small permissions accumulate into resilience, allowing the body to age with greater steadiness, clarity, and internal harmony that continues to support life well beyond expectations. As the day draws to a close, the brain does not automatically follow the body into rest. After 60, it often lingers, holding fragments of unfinished conversations, unresolved concerns, and habitual vigilance. This mental residue is not abstract. It has a measurable effect on physiology. When the mind remains engaged, neural circuits associated with alertness stay active, keeping the nervous system partially oriented toward monitoring rather than restoration. Sleep may still arrive, but the depth and quality of that sleep are altered in ways that matter for long-term health. From a biological perspective, the brain requires a clear shift in priorities to enter its most restorative states. During deep sleep, energy is redirected away from external awareness and toward internal maintenance. Neural connections are refined, immune signaling is recalibrated, and metabolic waste is cleared from brain tissue. These processes depend on reduced cortical activity related to planning, worry, and anticipation. When mental tension carries into bedtime, the brain delays this shift, spending valuable nighttime hours in lighter, less restorative stages. Mental closure before sleep works because it reduces cognitive load. The brain is an energy-efficient organ, constantly deciding where to allocate resources. Unresolved thoughts signal unfinished business, which the brain interprets as a reason to remain partially alert. By consciously releasing the day, attention is gently withdrawn from these loops. This withdrawal does not solve problems, but it suspends them, allowing neural networks associated with vigilance to quiet down. Stress hormones are closely linked to this process. Persistent mental engagement keeps these hormones circulating longer into the night. Elevated stress hormones interfere with sleep architecture, increasing nighttime awakenings and reducing time spent in deep sleep. They also influence blood sugar regulation and inflammatory pathways. Mental closure helps lower these hormonal signals, creating internal conditions that favor repair rather than defense. There is also a strong connection between mental rest and cardiovascular stability. When the brain remains alert, heart rate variability decreases, and blood pressure regulation becomes less stable. Over time, this instability places strain on blood vessels and the heart itself. Allowing the mind to disengage before sleep supports smoother autonomic regulation, helping the cardiovascular system settle into rhythms that protect long-term health. After 60, the brain becomes less tolerant of chronic cognitive strain. What once felt manageable begins to accumulate. Mental closure is not about suppressing thoughts, but about changing the relationship with them. Simple acts such as acknowledging the day's end or shifting attention to sensory calm signal to the brain that vigilance is no longer required. These signals are subtle, but the brain responds to them quickly. Over repeated nights, this practice reshapes neural expectations. The brain learns that nighttime consistently brings release rather than continued engagement. This learning reduces baseline anxiety and improves sleep efficiency. The benefits extend beyond the night. Daytime focus improves because the brain has completed its restorative work more thoroughly. Emotional responses soften because stress regulation has been reinforced at a foundational level. Mental closure also supports cognitive longevity. Deep sleep is closely tied to memory consolidation and neural housekeeping. When the brain is allowed to disengage fully, these processes proceed with fewer interruptions. This supports clarity, recall, and adaptability as the years progress. The effect is not immediate, but cumulative, built through hundreds of nights where the brain is permitted to rest completely. In later life, health is sustained less by effort and more by release. Mental closure before sleep embodies this principle. It honors the brain's need to step out of constant responsiveness and into maintenance. By creating a clear boundary between the day and the night, the brain is freed to perform the quiet work that sustains cognition, emotional balance, and physical resilience, allowing aging to unfold with greater steadiness and internal coherence that supports well-being across the years. After 60, the body responds less to isolated actions and more to patterns that repeat with gentle consistency. Health becomes something that emerges from rhythm rather than intervention. Bedtime rituals matter not because they are dramatic, but because they are dependable. Each night, the body looks for familiar signals that indicate what comes next. When those signals are calm and predictable, biological systems align more easily. This alignment reduces the need for compensation and preserves energy for long-term resilience. The human body is deeply rhythmic. Hormones rise and fall, temperature shifts, and neural activity cycles in predictable ways. Aging does not erase these rhythms, but it does make them more sensitive to disruption. Irregular evenings confuse the nervous system, leading to delayed sleep onset and fragmented repair. Consistent rituals restore order. They help synchronize internal clocks, allowing processes like hormone release and cellular maintenance to occur at optimal times. Longevity is supported when the body spends more time in restoration than in adaptation. After 60, adaptation becomes costly. Frequent shifts between stress and calm strain regulatory systems. Bedtime rituals reduce this strain by creating a reliable transition into rest. The nervous system learns that it does not need to remain flexible or alert at night. It can settle into maintenance mode with confidence. This reliability has profound effects on the brain. When sleep timing and preparation are consistent, neural repair processes become more efficient. The brain allocates resources with greater precision, improving memory consolidation and emotional regulation. These improvements are subtle but cumulative, shaping cognitive health over years rather than days. There is also an emotional dimension to consistency. Repeated rituals create a sense of stability and self-trust. The body recognizes that it will be cared for at the end of the day. This recognition reduces baseline stress, which in turn supports immune function and cardiovascular health. Emotional calm becomes a physiological asset, influencing how the body responds to challenges. Importantly, these rituals work without force. They do not demand effort or discipline in the traditional sense. Instead, they rely on familiarity. Familiarity is comforting to the nervous system. It reduces uncertainty, which is one of the primary drivers of stress. When evenings unfold in a known pattern, the body prepares for rest earlier, extending the duration of restorative processes. Over time, the benefits of this consistency extend into waking life. Mornings feel steadier because nights have been more complete. Energy is distributed more evenly throughout the day. Small stressors provoke less disruption because regulatory systems are well rested. The body becomes better at maintaining balance rather than constantly regaining it. This approach reflects a broader wisdom about aging. Strength is no longer measured by how much the body can endure, but by how well it can recover. Bedtime rituals support recovery by honoring the body's natural timing. They recognize that health is not built in moments of intensity, but in thousands of quiet transitions handled with care. In this way, longevity is not pursued directly. It emerges as a byproduct of alignment. When the body's rhythms are respected, systems work together rather than in competition. The heart, brain, and immune system share a common pace. Over years, this shared pace reduces wear and preserves function. Aging continues, but it does so with less friction, allowing life to extend not just in years, but in the quality of those years as the body moves forward with steadiness, adaptability, and an internal sense of order that supports well-being through time.